Oh, hi guys! I'm actually working on the van today, so I thought that I could get a little bit closer to hitting the road whenever Riley gets here. But I'm actually kind of going through some projects, so if you guys want to come in and check out what I'm up to, let's talk about it. Because, well, I'm trying to figure out my lighting, and I have these power banks to help me out, but I think I've solved some issues with this layout. So throughout my journey, I have had a lot of experience with lighting, and along the way I've tried out numerous things. Whenever I tent camped, I used to carry around a variety of different lanterns with me. I had flashlights, all sorts of ways that I could illuminate the space that I'm in. But whenever I moved into the van, I knew it was going to be a little bit of a difficult situation because two reasons. Number one, I can't build out the interior of the van because it could void my warranty. So I couldn't install lights the way that I wanted to. So I tried some things that, well, didn't always necessarily work out. And then some of the things that I really liked, but you guys said were a little harder for you to be able to see what was going on here in the space. So I kind of had some back and forth within myself as to what I should do next. My first lights here in the van were these little puck lights, and they worked out pretty well, but the problem with them was that they always had to have the batteries changed out, and I would go through batteries so quickly. The only economical way for me to do that was to try to use rechargeable batteries, but going out into cold weather, it would zap the rechargeable batteries so quickly. So this quickly turned into something that went from an awesome thing to a not so awesome thing. Then I moved into my fairy lights, which I absolutely love, but the settings on these are a little strange. Now, by strange, I mean that whenever I turn them on, the best setting for me physically is the green setting or the blue setting so that it doesn't hurt my eyes, because my eyes are super sensitive. But unfortunately, those make the camera look all sorts of crazy. So when I talk to you guys, it makes it hard. And whenever I go to the white light setting, it's not a true white. It's kind of like a bluish white. So it makes this ringing sound. It's hard exactly to explain it, but it's a frequency that is just, oh, so painful for my ears. So I kind of just went through the motions of trying to figure this out for a while. And finally, whenever I was out shopping in Branson, Missouri a few months back, I found a light. Now this right here is the light in question. It's a little strip that I can plug in and charge up, and then I can illuminate the space with white light. The only reason that I wasn't loving this light initially was because of my setup. My setup wasn't really conducive to having this in a specific place, so I would just have to kind of move it around over and over. But now that I've reinstalled my shelf, this has a wonderful home where I can pop it into the shelf and illuminate upward so that it is a nice diffusion of the light so it doesn't hurt my eyes, but also gives me a brightness in my space that is absolutely phenomenal. In fact, after testing it by putting in the shelf and then sticking it in here at night, I was able to realize that this is such a good option that I think it might be handy for my dad. Now, my dad's out working on some things right now, but I'm going to surprise him by giving him these. A company reached out to me after I had purchased this one and said, hey, you like that light? Or we can send you some more for your van. But because I have such a small van, I was like, well, could I give these to my dad for his van? Because I think that they would be great. And they said, sure. So today I'm going to show you kind of the difference between the one that I purchased in Branson and then the ones that they sent me. They're very similar, but I'm also kind of going to dive into what dad is going to be using these for. Now, eventually I'm going to be able to do a full van tour of my dad's van and maybe even take it out on the road a little bit. I'm really excited about that. But all the little moving parts that he's getting into kind of help us to understand the difference in bigger vans and smaller vans. And so that's been pretty neat. But these are the lights themselves. Now for dad, he's going to be using these different than I do. Instead of facing up so it can diffuse the light, he's actually going to be placing them under the cabinet facing down so he can see his kitchen. And because of that, I wanted to make sure that it was going to be a little bit more strong because nobody wants to be cooking and then all of a sudden their light give way. So just kind of comparing, I can stick this to my shelf. It stays in place. Now going back to the one that I had though, if I were to try to stick it to it, it kind of slides. So the magnets on this one, as you can see, are much more durable. So I thought this would be a great way for Dad to have kind of that benefit that I'm having from a light like this, but in a more substantial, kind of sturdy kind of way. Now, I was very fortunate that the company that reached out to me to ask if I would like these was okay with me giving them to my dad after I explained, hey, this is what we're going to use them for, and they were confident in their product and said, absolutely, these will work great under a cabinet. So let me kind of show you what they look like up close, and then also what these little things are right here. So these are the lights right here. They're black on the outer portion. They have a couple of buttons right here on the end that you can control them with. Now these little pieces are pretty cool because on one side you have a 3M strip and on the other side you have a piece of metal. And what these do is allow you to actually mount these where you want the light to be able to go, and then you can literally just stick the light to these points. There's a couple little points on here and it kind of attaches it so that you have a good secure place if you don't have metal like I do here on the shelf. But there's a lot more to these lights, and so I think we should dive into this little section right here where we have all of the plug and play options and the buttons. So here on the end you can actually charge these, and also there's a strip of light options. One is auto, one is on, and one is off. So in the middle you find a nice off like this, but then also you can turn them to on, and this is a nice warmer color of light. It looks a little strange here on camera, but it is in fact a true white color. There's none of this gradient that you kind of see here on the camera. So whenever you're using these in a down position, you can see it's going to light up quite a bit in the down position, but also if you're lighting it up in the up position, it gives you quite a bit of light that kind of goes out into the area. Now, the more charged that they are, the better. So obviously, as it gets a little bit closer to the bottom of its charge, it's going to dim down just a little. Mine does that too. But the nice thing about this is it also has some settings on here where you can brighten it even more or less. So it has 3 settings, and as you can see, now I'm much brighter. It's pretty neat. I really like these, and it's kind of hard to show you all of the full benefits of this and not, you know, just geek out a little bit because I'm super excited. I'm very happy that these lights worked out for me, but I'm more happy that these are going to work out for my dad because he's getting super close to being finished with his van. But I'm not finished with the comparisons yet. Obviously, this is the one that I had. It's silver. It has the little port right here, no buttons. But when we put them end to end, you can see a little bit closer as to how large they really are. The black one is a bit longer, as you can see. Otherwise though, when you look at the front face, it looks like the sensors are similar except for the buttons on the top, and overall I think that the settings that are available on the black one are a bit superior. So as you can see, pretty neat. I'm very excited about this. The stronger magnet's really going to come in handy. Now these come in a 2-pack, so these are just 2-pack of LED motion sensor lights. The packaging looks like this, and then it has a lot of product parameters on the back, and so here you get all of the juicy gossip as to what's going on. Now on this, it does have a little bit more information to kind of deep dive into. So for example, these are 65 LEDs and they're a 5-volt 1 amp, so that's all listed right here. It also tells you that these are a more energy efficient kind of bulb, so that's really nice because ultimately you don't want something that's going to suck down all your power while you're on the road. And charging these, I've already done so. It takes a little bit less time than it does the other one, so that's kind of nice. So I'm assuming that whenever my dad puts these into his van, what he'll do is whenever he's driving, he'll pop them down, he'll charge them up, and then whenever he gets to camp, he'll pop them up and be able to use them throughout the duration of the time that he is wherever he wants to be. This will make cooking a lot easier. It'll make being able to see under the cabinets a lot better, and all in all, I'm really happy about this. So you can see that the evolution of my lights have now impacted another person in my own family, and I love that. But there's a few other things that I've kind of been considering in my light journey that could also be really nice to bring back. Because like I said, I've tested out a variety of different lights along the way, and one has always stood out to me as one of my favorites, but it hasn't been able to go in the van because of the layout that I had, and I think you'll see why whenever I show it to you. Now, along all of the creative lights that I've seen and tried, there's been one that always stood out to me that I loved above the others. It's a creative, interesting light source that, with my bed having sat up to about here and then only having a short distance to the ceiling and then also having this, there was just not enough head clearance. But as you can see now, there's a lot more based on the new layout. In fact, when I am in couch mode, I think you can see there's plenty of room above my head, and my couch mode only takes up this back portion of the van itself. So I have tons of room in my aisle area right here that there's nothing going on. So I thought, what better thing that I could do to bring back some light into the room, aside from this guy, which is going to sit upwards, and these, which are going to provide me a nice warm coloration of either greens or blues. But I also have another thing. Now this guy right here, this thing I have had for a long time. This is by Solite, and I've had it for years now. In fact, I used to use this sometimes by popping it out to the outside of my van because it's magnetic, but now I think it might have a home inside my van. So it comes out and it looks kind of like this. There's a few little straps on it, so I can pop those straps open, and I can either charge it by solar or charge it on a regular charger, and then I can open it up and it's an origami light. This is just a really pretty light source that I can use, and I can put it in a variety of different places now in the van because, again, I have more space. So I think what I'm going to do is either put it up here on this side of the shelf so it can stick out like that, or I'm going to pop it up onto the ceiling where I could pop it up maybe up here like this. I don't know. I think that this is a great way for me to have a chandelier in the van, just to kind of be a really organic shape, but also create a really nice light. And much like the new black lights that are going to go in Dad's van, it has several different settings. So this allows me to go from a super dim setting to a super bright setting. And so I can have a nice diffused, comfortable light if I'm wanting to have movie night or something like that. Or I can have something super bright if I'm in the van and I've lost something and I have to find it. I can use it if I'm cooking in the van by illuminating the space a bit more so that I can see a bit better, or I can just pop it outside and use it whenever I have my awning out and have a really nice outdoor space, which I love that idea too. So all in all, I think this is going to be a good way to address this. And I've just been sitting in here kind of going through these ideas, trying to feel everything out before I hit the road to make sure I've got all my bases covered. I mean, the van itself is coming along great. So I'm very excited to have the couch mode that moves into bed mode, the shelf that now facilitates me to have everything just within arm's reach. And now I think I've addressed the lighting. And so there's only one thing left to really address here in the van other than loading it up, and that is the curtain. Again, guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. I'm going to get back to work. I'm going to go deliver these to my dad because he's going to be so excited. And I think I'm going to charge this guy up and give it a shot on this trip. I think it'll make a really nice feeling here in the van. And lately it's been just about how I feel in the space. If it makes me happy, it gets to come in. If it doesn't, it has to stay somewhere else. So remember that, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!